What's good, y'all? Call me Ace. About to teach you how to play 5 Mics, the hip-hop trading card game. Your 5 Mics deck features a roster of hip-hop artists with superpowers. Battle your ops, KO opposing hip-hop artists, and prove why your team is the greatest of all time. Each player starts with a deck of 30 cards. Your deck is also your health. In other words, your health is equal to the number of cards in your deck. A deck has to have 15 artists, no more, no less. Each player also starts with 5 bags in their bank. Bags are the resources you spend to play cards from your hand onto the stage. Any battle between 2 players can only last for 12 rounds max. If no player has decisively won by the end of 12 rounds, then the player with the most health wins. Each player starts by drawing 5 cards from the top of their deck into their hand. Before the game starts, each player can select up to 5 cards from their hand to reshuffle and then redraw back up to 5 cards. This can only happen once. There are 3 types of cards in 5 Mics: artists, items, and events. Before we start talking about what makes each card different, let's first talk about what each card has in common. All cards have a name, type, style, cost, and ability. Most cards, not all cards have abilities, but most of them do. Artists are the cards with an attack value and a defense value. Artists get played on the main stage and battle opposing artists. If there are no opposing artists on stage, your artist can attack your op directly. More on that in a bit. Items get equipped onto same styled artists in order to give those artists additional abilities. Freestyle items are considered to be style-less or have no style, so they can be equipped onto any artist. Events get played backstage and add extra impact during battle. There are 3 types of events. One-time events: when played backstage, ability activates and the event is immediately KO'd. Ongoing events: when played backstage, the ability activates and the event remains backstage for a specific duration of time. Once the duration is over, the ongoing event is immediately KO'd. And trap events: when played backstage, the event card is flipped face down. The ability does not activate until a specific trigger condition is met. Once the ability activates and resolves, the trap event is immediately KO'd. We mentioned style specifically when talking about items, but let's break that down a little bit more. Every card in 5 Mics has a style. Here's our 5 main styles, specifically in order. You have chill, party, hardcore, emo, and conscious. You also have freestyle, which is, like I said, or styleless, no style. It's not really a style, but it's a style of style. Each style has its own philosophy that embodies the flavor and the way in which these cards interact with one another. Chill's philosophy: peaceful long life. Party's philosophy: money is power. Hardcore's philosophy: absolute aggression. Emo's philosophy: stronger alone. And Conscious's philosophy: strength in community. When creating your 30-card 5 Mics deck, you could put a card of any style in there. They don't all have to be chill cards, for example. So why do styles matter then? Well, there's 3 reasons. 1, items. Like I said earlier, unless it's a freestyle item, items can only be equipped to artists of the same style. 2, abilities. Some abilities only activate when you control a card of a specific style. For example, here's the ability for chill vibes: re-up 2, heal 2 also if you control at least 2 friendly chill artists. So, if you don't control at least 2 artists that specifically have the chill style, then if you played this event, only the first part of this ability would happen. And 3, jumping. We'll explain jumping a bit more when we talk about battling, but basically in 5 Mics, there's a way where you can attack one opposing artist with more than one of your artists at the same time. But you can only jump with artists of the same style. Now, before we talk about battling, let's get comfy where all the cards go. The main stage is where your artists go when you pay to play them from your hand. You can only have up to 5 artists on stage at a time. Also, you can have multiple copies of the same artist on stage unless they're explicitly marked as unique. The backstage is where your events go. You can only have up to 5 events backstage at a time. If you have 5 ongoing events or trap events on stage, you can't play any more events, and that includes one-off events, until you get more room backstage. The bank is where your bags go. Each round, Separate your ready bags from your used bags or your invested bags. Your deck, that's where you draw cards. And the dirt, that's where your cards go when they're KO'd. And then there's an erase zone. That's where your cards go when they're completely erased from the game. You can just move them outside of the play area to show that these cards were erased. Alright, so you got your starting hand, you understand card types and styles and the stage, how to set it up. Now you're ready to play 5 mics. So, here's how you begin. Randomly, you decide who goes first. Let's say we go first, because here we is. So, each round got 5 steps. Start, draw, main, battle, and end. At the start of your round, refresh your bank. All your bags are ready to spend. Activate any abilities with the start keyword. The draw step, you draw 3 cards from the top of your deck. The main step, you spend your bags to play your cards. You can play as many cards as you can afford, which is the number of ready bags you got. You can also activate any card abilities during this time. The battle step, this is an optional step, and it's not quite a separate step from main. You can go from main to battle interchangeably so long as it's still your round. We'll talk more about how to battle in a second, but just know that you can have multiple battles in the same round. This is our first round, so we can't battle right now because players can't attack on their first round. So then we just move to the end of our round. Activate any abilities with the end keyword. Unexhaust your artists, and discard cards from your hand until you have 7 cards max. You can only have 7 cards in your hand at the end of your round. Alright, now let's say you decide to battle, it's round 2, you ready, you hungry, let's get it. Alright, here's 3 ways that you can battle in 5 mics. The first way is the most common way. You choose one artist you control, the attacker, to attack one artist your op controls, the blocker. To determine the results of the battle, who won versus who lost the battle, you must compare the value of your artist's attack and defense with the value of the opposing artist's attack and defense. When the attack of your artist is less than the defense of the opposing artist remains on the stage. When the attack of your artist is equal to the defense of the opposing artist is KO'd. And when the attack of your artist is greater than the defense of the opposing artist is KO'd and you deal direct damage to your op. The direct damage value is your artist's attack value minus the opposing artist's defense value. One thing to remember is that attacking and blocking happen simultaneously. In other words, when the attack of the opposing artist is less than the defense of your artist remains on the stage. When the attack of the opposing artist is equal to the defense of your artist is KO'd. And when the attack of the opposing artist is greater than the defense of your artist is KO'd and your op deals direct damage to you. Just like before, to take direct damage, take the top card of your deck and place onto the top of your dirt. So you'll want to be real careful about which artist you attack with and who you actually attack. The second way is jumping, which we briefly touched on earlier. In this scenario, you choose 2 or more artists you control to attack one artist your op controls. This modifies battle in 2 ways. The first way is that you sum up the individual attack values of your jumping artists and compare the total attack value against the opposing artist's defense value. If the total attack is equal to or greater than the opposing artist's defense, then the opposing artist is KO'd. The second way is that jumping artists cannot deal direct damage in a successful attack when the total attack is greater than the opposing artist's defense. However, in response, your op can choose one of the jumping artists to block, and the same calculations to determine successful blocks apply, such that blocking artists can deal direct damage if their attack is greater than the attacker's defense. The third way to battle is when your op doesn't have any artists on stage. If you have any ready artists on your stage, you can attack your op directly. To calculate the results is simple. The artist's attack value equals the amount of direct damage dealt to your op. Once you attack with an artist, exhaust it by turning the card sideways. This artist cannot attack for the remainder of this round. There are 2 ways to win in 5 mics. The most common way is by health. A player hits the danger zone when they have no more cards in their deck. They haven't lost yet, they're still in the game, but if they take even just 1 more point of direct damage, you win. The second way is 12 rounds. If after 12 rounds, there's still no decisive winner, the player with the most health wins. Some cards have special abilities in the form of common keywords. Most keywords also come with an icon on the left side of the card as a marker. In your starter deck box, you'll also have this card, which just breaks down all of the main abilities which you can refer to at any time. We won't get into all the abilities right now, but here are 3 main ones that we really feel like you should know. First one, re-up. That's a way where you can get more bags to spend, but the catch is you can only use those bags in that same round. In your next round, you won't have those bags anymore. The second ability is invest, and it's slightly different. You get more bags, but you don't get to use them this round, but you can use them for every subsequent round after this round. So for example, if I invest 1 this round, I don't get that 1 bag right now, but in my next round, instead of starting with 5 bags, I'll start with 6 bags. And then there's heal. With heal, really what I'm doing is I'm just shuffling the bottom cards from my dirt back into my deck. It's kind of like living longer, you know? For more detailed rules about how to play 5 mics, head over to our website at 5mics.io and come join our Discord server, yo, and be a part of this growing community. We look forward to having you. Tell everybody and your mom about 5 mics. We can't wait to see you, I don't know, whoop some tail. Be easy.